Hello my angels and devils and all who may wander here. It is Amanda Christina and today we are doing no therapy. I hear you asking, what is no therapy? Have you ever seen the movie 27 Dresses? Come on, I know most of you have. I love that movie. There is a scene in that movie where James Marsden is with the other lead, and I can't think of her name right now. It'll come back to me at the weirdest time. Is teaching the lead female character to say no to her sister. And based on that, I'd been watching it and a friend of mine was talking about how she had trouble saying no. My friend Lish, if you're watching this, hi Lish. So Lish and I practiced. Even now sometimes we still practice because it's very easy to forget how to say no. And it seems so simple. It's 2 letters. No. Say it with me now. No. Come on, we can do a bit more. Be a bit more convincing, right? No. Okay, now, yes, there are men who are pleasers. Yes, there are men who have trouble saying no. But it is specifically something I have noticed that very much affects most women. We're taught from an early age to be nurturers, to nurture others, to look after others, to make sure everybody else is okay at the expense of ourselves. And what that leads to is us burning out. Cheryl Richardson has a book about it, which is called The Art of Extreme Self-Care, which is about learning to put yourself at the top of your to-do list. Highly recommend it. I recommend it to clients all the time. It is a really good idea to practice saying no, to do it in role play situations. Talk to a friend who maybe also has trouble saying no, or who you know isn't going to be upset by you asking to do this, and spend some time each day or every couple of days practicing saying no. I know there's things like yes therapy, which is, or say yes to life, which is a really big thing at the moment. But here's the thing, saying yes to every opportunity often puts us in harmful situations, not necessarily physically, but emotionally harmful situations to ourselves. And we have to be aware of that. The more we are aware of our mental health, our emotional health, and our physical health, the better we can make all of these things because they all work together. So, let's try that again, shall we? No. 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 Feel silly? I know I do a little bit. And I actually sat down before and just rehearsed this video and really wished I had been recording it, because I came up with all the perfect ways to say everything and it was so flowy and wonderful, and now I'm struggling a bit. But basically the gist is that the more you practice saying it, the better you will get at it. We put ourselves all the time in situations that drain the very life force from us by saying yes to things that are not necessarily good for us or right for us to do. Hang on, I'm just going to pause this for a second. Sorry, I have a bit of a coldy thing at the moment. I'm on the tail end of it. It just seems to flare up at the odd times. Anyway, so we put ourselves in situations a lot that diminish our happiness, diminish our joy, that cause us a lot of stress and anxiety, that learning to say no would avoid altogether. It's hard at first because people are like, why are you saying no? You usually say yes. And yes, they're going to get upset. I know when Lish started saying no to some people, they were really upset and quite rude about it, but they got more used to it. And as you get more used to saying no, and as you say no to people, they'll get used to it. Yes, it's a bit like a child throwing a tantrum. You may get some people who are like that are so used to getting their own way that when you first start saying no, they throw a temper tantrum and they get all upset and like, you're not my friend because you won't do this for me. You know what? True friendship isn't necessarily about doing anything for anyone else. True friendship is about being there, loving and supporting each other. The other stuff, they're just perks. Perks of friendship, perks of being good friends with someone. They're not entitlements. Listen to that again. They are not entitlements. They are not things that you have to do to be a good friend. We have seem to have been conditioned that we have to do X, X, and Y to be considered a wonderful person, or that we're not a good person if we don't do X, X, and Y, or if we don't drop everything and, you know, do what somebody wants us to. And that's not true. Learn to say no to the things that are going to drag your energy down. What's that word again? No. 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 And the thing is, there are nice ways to say no. No, I'm really sorry, that's not my cup of tea, but I would love to do this with you instead. Often we're asked to go see movies, read books, jump on a bandwagon for a certain show that may not be something that is good for us or something we enjoy, but we do it because everybody else is doing it, or because we don't want to miss out, or because we're kind of pressured into it. So learning to say no and know what's right for you is so, so very important. Oh, but if you're a good friend, you'd help me move. I'm really sorry, I have something else planned that day. I can't get out of it. I'm sorry, physically I'm unable to do that. I'm happy to come and help you pack a few boxes during the week or when I have some spare time, but I'm really, really busy the week you move. There are so many ways to do it without just being, no, I'm not doing that because I don't want to. Like, there are ways to say no in a nice, positive way where you can work a way around it. And if you can't help, that's okay. It is okay. It is not your job to rescue everybody. My friend Catherine taught me that because she knows that I feel responsible for a lot of people a lot of the time. I've always felt, I don't know what it is, even as a small child, I always felt like I was the person taking responsibility for everybody else to make sure everybody else in my life was okay. And that could come from early childhood trauma. I really don't know. There's a lot of stuff I don't know about my early childhood. But yes, so you've got to look after yourself too. It's really essential. And as someone who has been the person that puts everybody else first for their whole entire life, who realized how burnt out, how emotionally, physically sick it was making me, I've had to learn to say no, especially as my mental health and my physical health have deteriorated. I'm the cautionary tale. I'm the person who used to try and rescue everybody. I don't. I will be there for people. I will help you through whatever I can. But if I can't, I'll take time away from being online. I'll take time in my own world because I need to. It is literally vital. Just bear with me a second. I have to blow my nose. My health has literally forced me to say no. To a lot more than I want to say no to. Sometimes it's budgetary. But the thing is, it has pushed me to a point where I have to know my limits. I have to know how much energy I've got to give. If you've never read it before, Google the Spoon blog. I highly recommend it. For anyone who doesn't know what living with chronic illness is like, be it mental or physical, the gist is it teaches you that we get a certain amount of energy a day. Some days are good days where you have loads of energy and you'll accomplish loads. Other days, getting out of bed is an achievement. And so when you have chronic illness, you learn to budget your spoons. And saying yes to something that is going to drain you over weeks, like it could be an event that you have to psych yourself up to. I have social anxiety, severe social anxiety. I know it doesn't seem like it. I'm just talking to you here like I would normally. If you met me in public, you would not know I have social anxiety. I can take anywhere from an afternoon or a day up to a week to a month to recover from a social event where I will just want to pull all my energy back inwards because I need to for me. It's not as bad as it used to be, but I have my moments. There are things I am literally missing out on at the moment, like one of my nieces is turning 21 and I'm not going. Mostly because just of how much anxiety and stress that is going to cause me. And there's also a bit of a financial thing there too, just with the places where things are going on. But yeah, it is really important to know what you can and cannot do. for me, I've always sort of forced myself to go and do these things with family and stuff where I feel very uncomfortable. There's a whole story, and I will probably do a video on how my sister and I found each other, because it's a really interesting story, and I think that will give you a little more insight as to why this is such a big deal for me. I couldn't tell you exactly what causes it. It's just there's some stuff there. There's certain people that basically when I see them, I feel like I've been punched in the gut. It's not as bad as it used to be, but that is pretty much, I feel like I've been sucker punched. And I've never had that reaction with anyone else in my life. It's a very bizarre thing, and I'm not sure why it happens, but I'm sure one day it will all be revealed somehow, some weird, wonderful way. But the point of this video is about saying no to things when you need to. Mental health is very overlooked still. There's still a lot of stigma attached to saying, I can't do this for my mental health. We need to treat mental health like physical health. It's just as important. Sarah Snitch said that in her anxiety video. Please go watch it. Please subscribe to Sarah. She is amazing. Unfortunately, because I'm doing this from my phone, I can't link stuff at the moment, which is really frustrating. So if someone watching this is a member of the squad, can you please link Sarah's video down below for me, because I would really appreciate it. I think people should watch that. It's really important. Because there are so many different types of anxiety, depression, mental illness, and we say yes, even though there's a part of us screaming how much we're going to pay for that. How much are you willing to sacrifice? Often for me it'll be, I'll be getting in a good place, I'll be starting to get on top of things, I'll be getting to a better routine, better sleep patterns, and then an event will happen and it will just pull the rug out from under me, and I'll be like, I've got to claw all that work back that I have put into getting myself onto an even keel. I can't keep doing that for me. You know, there are certain things where I know I'm not going to be able to say no to, like, you know, for example, if my nieces get married, I'm not going to not go to their weddings. It will take its toll, but I would not do that to them. And I wouldn't, you know, I wouldn't wish to miss something so important. But when it comes to a birthday, even if it's an important birthday, there's another birthday and another birthday and another birthday. I don't really go out to eat anymore because that's just a financial thing, but also because I find it a lot of places are very noisy, and I get very noise and light sensitive. I've learnt to say no where I need to. I'll go to my sister's house if I'm invited or stuff like that. If I'm invited somewhere, I often will say yes, depending if it's an environment I'm comfortable in. Like, I know my sister's house, I hang out there, you know, not all the time, but enough to be comfortable there, to not stress. And it still takes me a lot now to work up to getting to her house. And it never used to be that way. So I know to say no when something isn't right for me. I'm learning to get better at saying, no, I physically can't do this at the moment, because I am very bad at pushing myself and then making myself sicker than I already am in everyday life, and then everything goes backwards again. So I'm learning to flow with things, and that's a really important lesson, to flow with what's right for you, to say no where you need to, because this took a whole little derailing side road, which, as you know, if you've watched my videos for a while now, I do. So this is why no therapy is so important. If I had at a younger age learnt to say no, if I had at a younger age learnt to say, I can't do this because it will take its toll on me, I need to find a job that will not drain my energy, that will not make me suicidal. If I had known the things I know now earlier in life, because I've been bipolar 2 since childhood, there's no disputing that fact. I've talked to my mother, I've thought of, like, just everything. Like, they used to have to sometimes drag me kicking out and screaming out of the house to go somewhere if I didn't feel up to it. Mum always has said that I've had periods, what she calls my blue periods. So there's been a lot of things that I know, and it's like, if I had known those things earlier on, if mental health had have been looked after more when I was a child, I might be in a very different position to where I am now, which is one of the reasons that I always advocate, like Sarah does, therapy, getting help, creating a really good support network around you, because it is vital. And I know that saying no is a scary, scary thing when you're not used to it. And it is one of those things that we get so used to not saying. We get so used to, maybe, sure, why not? Half-assed replies, sort of just avoiding things until it's too late and like, oh, I forgot all about that. I have actually done that where, not deliberately, but like I've literally fallen asleep and woken up after an event and been like, oh crud, I've slept through Christmas, or I've slept through something really important, my sister is going to kill me. But it's just what happens sometimes when you're sick. You can't always choose what's going to happen. But what you can do is choose to only say yes to the things that you mean to follow through on. People are understanding more now. People are getting more educated about mental health. But unless we talk about it, unless we talk about why and how with things, we sometimes don't get to see the other perspective, which is that when we say yes to things, or when people say yes to things that are not necessarily the right things for them, it takes its toll physically, emotionally, mentally. I swear it sort of adds a little darkness to our aura, to our souls, because we're just not in a place where that is a good thing for us. Say yes to the good things. Be helpful where you can. Be the best person you can be. The best person you can be is someone who says no to the things that will take their toll on you and that will drain you, that will destroy your soul. I'm not saying saying no to new opportunities. I'm not saying say no just because something scares you. I do things not as much recently just because of where I live and stuff, but I do things every so often. I will make sure I push myself out of my comfort zone. A few years ago, that was going to a BBW event. I made a costume for that. Other times there was once in my 20s, I went and auditioned for one of those like cheesy, find a star kind of shows. Not because I thought I would get on or I was any good, but I wanted to step out of my comfort zone. Sometimes that moment of stepping out of our comfort zone, and that's a whole other video, I think, just boosts our energy, and just kind of, as scary as hell as it is, it sometimes gives us that. It shakes us out of the doldrums, out of the same old, same old. So that's a reason to say yes to some things, but sometimes it's just trusting your gut on what the right things to say yes to and what the right things to say no to are. You're not a bad person if you say no. Say it with me. I am not a bad person because I say no. I am not a bad person because I say no. I need you to really practice that one, because I know a lot of people feel like they're a horrible person if they say no to others, and that's just not true. I want you to practice saying no. I want you to find a buddy, a friend, someone you can practice saying no to, even if it's just on Messenger online. Practice in the mirror. No. 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 Mm-mm. No. 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 Nah. Because it's so important. It's so... And the thing is, the more convincingly you can say no to others, you get to learn to pick and choose what is right for you. You will create an amazing life if you learn to say yes to the things that matter to you, that will mean the most to you, that will help you the most, and no to the things that are the most draining. It doesn't mean you're a bad person. It does not mean you are a bad friend. It's okay to speak up and say, hey, I'm not in the best place mental health wise right now. I want to be there for you, but can we wait a day or two? Can we table this until I'm more able to handle this? Because there are times now where I forget that. I forget to say that because I don't want someone to ever feel alone. I don't want someone to ever feel like there isn't someone there for them to talk to, because I've been that person. I am that person a lot of the time. Not deliberately. I know there's a lot of people who will jump up and say, you can talk to me, it's not about that. It's just, for me, even as a small child, I've always dealt with things on my own. That's just the way I've been. I usually just take time out just to process things, like to read, to watch stuff, to craft. But I'm not always good at saying, no, I need things I just need some time out. If you are someone who follows me on Twitter, you will see it as I'm just going to curl up and sleep in my sock drawer for a week. That's usually my little thing I put up to say. I do it on Facebook too. It's my little thing to say I'm not doing well. I'm okay. I'm not, I'm just taking some time. And that's the thing you'll notice. You'll see it's like, and I'll still interact with people and stuff, but sometimes it'll be a little bit more low key, or it'll just be a little less time online or whatever. So the gist of this rambly vlog is that it is okay to say no. It is perfectly acceptable. Try some no therapy. Try practicing saying no. Look in the mirror. I've got a mirror opposite where I am. No. 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 And yes, it does feel silly. It's like affirmations and things like that when you first try things. It can be a little daunting and it can be a little hard, but ultimately it is for your benefit. I really hope you got something out of this rambly video. If you made it all the way to 21 minutes plus, type no below so I know you made it all the way through. I had to pick no as the code word. It was obvious, right? Let me know below how you cope with saying no, how you feel when you say no, and if there's anything that you got out of this video, if there's anything you feel like I missed out, because I'm probably going to have a gazillion thing pop into my head now I've recorded this. And also how you're doing, because I'm struggling to connect with you guys as much without a laptop at the moment. I'm doing my best, guys, I really am. Anyway, I love each and every one of you. Please, please remember that you matter, you are amazing, and you're important. Bye!